because it is the early hours. And you are probably wondering what in the world is going on. Why am I up right now doing this live? And I'm doing this live because for those of you, several things. The first thing is that I want to bring up, do not be afraid to change. If you're doing something and it's not working for you, then don't be afraid to change it. Don't be afraid what people are going to think. Don't be afraid to tweak it and do what you need to do to get back on track. Or if something else makes more sense, if you've come into new knowledge and you need to make an adjustment, go ahead and make that adjustment. It's fine. It's fine. So, as many of you might know, and I'm getting a slow connection. Warning. Okay, there it goes. As many of you might know, and I hope I'm not going to start slurring my words because it's so late. But I've been missing for several days. And if you're catching this on Facebook and you caught my live earlier today, then you will know that I've just been, ugh, my car and then we had an issue with the house, and then I've also been traveling, so I have just not been available. Or if I have been available, it's been so late that or I've been so tired that I just, wasn't able to commit. And I apologize for that because consistency is important, and I know that there are people that are watching for my lives and it's not a good look. But you know what? Sometimes life just lives and you have to say, I'm sorry. So I'm saying I'm sorry to all of you. And you just have to jump back in the saddle and keep on going. You can't let it stop you. You can't let it get you discouraged. Things occurred. I wasn't able to be present, but I'm back now. So, another big thing I wanted to announce is I have decided to switch. I'm doing a very specific Instagram strategy. So I'm not going to be going live on Instagram, but I actually am. I will be going live on Instagram, but it will be like Instagram only when I go live on Instagram. And it's going to be a whole different format and all of that. So for my nightly lives, as of right now, I think I'm going to switch back over to Facebook. So it'll be Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Now, tonight, right now, I am live on YouTube and Facebook. Okay, because I don't know where my third phone is. It's like late. I don't know where my third phone is. And if I could find it, it's probably not charged because I haven't known where it has been for the past couple days. So anyway, I had to pick two, could only find two phones right now, so I had to pick two. So I picked Facebook and YouTube. So that's where I am live right now. So if you're just coming in, like I said, I've had some things going on. I'm sorry I haven't been live for the past several days, but I'm live now. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to be live earlier tonight, but I'm live now. So, anyway, our topic that we're going to be discussing tonight, very briefly, because I am tired, I need to go to sleep. And for some odd reason, I'm getting a slow connection on one phone, but not on the other. But I have two different carriers on these phones, so that might be why. But our topic for tonight is going to be too much too soon. And I do really want to reemphasize before I start, don't be afraid to switch up what isn't working for you at any time. That's really important. If something isn't working for you, you've found a new strategy, you've learned more, you know more, whatever the case, people don't have to understand it. Only you do, but do what works best for you and your business that's on the road to bringing you success. If you need to make several, there's going to be several modifications that you're going to need to make in your business or in your life on your road to success. As you learn more, you meet new people, you figure out what's best for your routine. You have things that go on. If you're a mom or a wife or whatever, you're going to have some days and sometimes where you just might not be able to be there in the capacity you would like to be. That's okay. Give yourself grace and keep on going. What happens too often to people is they hit a bump, they get embarrassed or they feel ashamed, and then they just quit. So, like, don't quit. No matter what, don't quit. That's the wrong thing to do. Just dust yourself off and keep on going. Okay, similarly to what I'm doing right now. All right. It's hard because you feel like, oh, I've broken my consistency streak or I've let people down, but life happens. So, too much too soon, the topic for tonight. And what that means is this is something that I don't know if I should have called it too much too soon, but it's too much without earning it would have been a better title, and I might go back and change it. But this is something often that parents do, especially parents who maybe grew up with less, okay? And then they maybe became very successful and they had children and they start giving their children all these things. They give their kids all the things that they weren't able to get when they were young, that they asked their parents for, and their parents had to say no because they didn't have the means. And then when their kid asks them, it triggers something emotional inside of them, and they give their child all these things. Well, the difference is if you grew up and maybe were of lesser means, and then you got older and you could start affording things, when you afforded these things, when you bought these things with your money, you really appreciated each and everything because you had grown up your whole life without the things. The difference is you grew up, you became successful, and now you have this money and you're giving your child all the things. And your child didn't grow up with parents who are of lesser means. Does that make sense? And so your child doesn't place any certain appreciation on what it is that you're giving them, right? They don't really appreciate it. They don't really care. They just care that you say yes and they get the thing. And it's making you proud and it's making you happy. But to your child, it's just another thing. And you're giving them that's what's going on there. You're giving them all these things. And so giving them the things makes you proud, giving them the things makes them spoiled. Does that make sense? And then what happens is you fast forward with this behavior, and you're just so proud that you can afford to send your child to the private schools and to wear the clothes and to live in the house and to have the toys and the stuff. And then fast forward, your child becomes a teenager. You've given them all these things that you're so very proud to be able to afford to give to your child that you didn't have, but your child didn't go through any kind of struggle to get them. Your child doesn't appreciate all the things. Your child is a spoiled, entitled brat. And then you have a child who grows up and has no appreciation for anything, doesn't know how to work hard, doesn't have a work ethic, right? And is a totally unpleasant person. And so we've seen this. How many times have we seen this in the children of, let's say, Hollywood stars who grew up with lesser means? And they grew up, became very successful, gave their kids everything. Their kids have never worked a real job in their life. They don't appreciate anything. And they just thoroughly throw a fit if they are told the word no. So this is very common. And how does that relate to being successful, you might say, Tish? Well, I'm going to let you know. A lot of times we can make the mistake in business when we have hit a certain level of success and we see someone that we want to mentor or bring onto our team, and we really like this young person, and this young person reminds us of ourselves, right? And so we kind of want to do the same thing. We kind of want to spoil this person that we want to mentor, right? Or bring onto our team. We want to give them all of our knowledge that it took years of us. I'm sorry. Remember, it's very late. That's why I'm starting to slur my words. Um, because I'm diabetic, and when I'm up too late, my words start to slur. Um, but we want to give them all this knowledge that we have accrued, right? Through years of reading, maybe years of coaching and having mentors and all of this, all these things, right? We've gotten this knowledge. It's come to us very slowly over time. We've worked hard for it. And then we meet somebody and we want to give them, we kind of want to dump all of our knowledge onto them. And we want to give them all of this, like as a gift or a present, like here it is. And then, lo and behold, they don't appreciate the knowledge that they're given. Let's say it's an employee, so you've met this young person, you want to mentor them, you want to bring them into the fold, you want to give them an opportunity that maybe you were not given, right? And so you start dropping knowledge on them and giving them the keys to the kingdom, right? And then they turn around and it turns out maybe they're lazy, or maybe they end up being disrespectful, or they're not handling business the way they need to, or they're becoming too familiar with you in the business setting, right? Or whatever the case may be. And then you get very upset. Well, the problem is that you gave them too much access that they did not have to work for. Does this make sense? When you give someone, whether it be an adult or a child, too much, it's just like, think of it this way: you might have a friend, right? And your friend, you might be a giver, you might be an empath, right? And you're a giver, and you give this friend who's constantly needy, right? You give them, oh, all right, I'll cook for you. Oh, okay, I'll watch your kids for you. Oh, how many of us have been there? I've definitely been there before, right? And this friend, instead of saying, wow, that's amazing, she's got all these kids, she's got a husband and a life, and she's dropping everything to help me, instead of being appreciative, what do? Before you know it, they're calling you every other day, and they've got a crisis and they need you to come drop what you're doing and solve their crisis for them. They are not appreciative of how you're giving of yourself inconveniently to help them. Okay, does this maybe sound familiar to anybody? So it's the same idea. When we do for others, or we give to others, or we give our knowledge to others, and they did not have to earn it themselves. They didn't have to read the books, they didn't have to attend the seminars, they did not have to put in the late night hours, they didn't have to do the graphs, they didn't have to study, the flow charts, all of that. When we give it to them on a platter, they do not appreciate what they've been given. It's just human nature. So, what I want to caution all of you in is, you have to let people earn it for themselves. As much as you may want to help your child, as much as you may want to help your friend, you have to let other people go through what they need to go through in order to get what it is that they want. You're actually doing them a disservice when you just, here you go, hand it to them. Because it's kind of like the concept of, you know, you give the man a fish, he's going to be hungry tomorrow morning. You teach the man to fish, and he can feed his family forever, right? People need to learn for themselves. They need to learn the lessons for themselves. They need to go through the experiences for themselves, the disappointments, the joy, the pain, right? The accomplishments, it needs to be theirs, right? It needs to be theirs. Just like you can teach your child to drive, but you can't drive for your child. Your child you have to surrender the car. Your child has to get behind the wheel, and they have to learn how to navigate in this scary world behind a vehicle, right? There are certain things the kids need to go through themselves. And sometimes we can circumnavigate that, right? As parents, we can take our kids out of school, we can homeschool them, and then we can micromanage and control all situations, all social interactions, and everything else. And, I think as somebody who homeschooled, I think homeschooling can be wonderful, obviously, because I homeschooled my children for a time, definitely. But at the same time, and also depending on the child, because certain children really do need to be homeschooled, but certain children really do need to be in school, I believe. We can do them a disservice because then after homeschooling them and keeping them in this insulated environment, then ta-da, you're 18, welcome, go out. You're going to have to go out into the world for which you're not prepared for, right? Well, it's, similar, you could use that with homeschooling. You could use that when you give your child too much, right? You give your child too much growing up, and then they have to go out there and get a job, and they don't know how to work, right? You didn't teach them anything, how to work hard. You just gave it to them, right? They didn't have to take out the trash. They didn't have to wash the dishes. They didn't have to wash the cars on Saturday, right? They didn't have to go out and get that job at McDonald's. I'm like a really big fan of I don't care how much money you have, your kid needs to get a job at McDonald's so they learn how to work, how to like really work, to mop the floors, to clean the fryers and all that. Like that builds character to me. That is so important. Everybody's kids should get a job at McDonald's, no matter how much money you make. Like, you have to instill people that you really care for with a work ethic and acknowledge that you can't just hold out your hand in the real world and be given whatever it is that you want. So it's really hard when we spoil our children, right? We're not setting them up for success because they're not going to leave our house and the world isn't going to spoil them. The world isn't going to say, oh, there's little Bobby, write him out a paycheck, right? No, little Bobby's going to have to go out there and work for it. And if you never made him work for anything at home, how's it going to suddenly turn 18 and become this upstanding, respectful, hardworking young man? Well, the same thing for what you want in life, or let's say you're in a situation where you can mentor someone. I was faced with that situation recently. There's a young woman that I'm going to mentor, and I was thinking about the steps that I wanted to take with her. And then I realized, no, 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 no. You're not going to give her all of this, Tish. She needs to start here reading the books. Then she needs to progress to here and to here and to. It's going to be an entire process. But by the time she gets to here, it's going to be hers. It's not going to be something I gave her. It's going to be hers. It's going to be her experience, her knowledge, her, failures, her accomplishments, whatever it is that she goes through to get to where I want her to be. She has to earn it. It needs to be hers so that it's in her so that she can be able to duplicate it, right? If somebody just gives you something, you can't replicate it or duplicate it. You don't know how it was gotten. And I'm telling you, this is what happens so many times, so often to CEOs, children, and people in powerful positions where you see them and they've been grinding their whole life and they've got a wonderful work ethic and personality and everything else. And then you see their kids and you're like, what on earth happened? And what happened was that they spoiled them because they weren't able to give them their personal time, because maybe they were working, or they spoiled them because they felt guilty because they didn't have those things when they were young. But what people don't understand is kids don't care. Kids don't know what you went through. They don't they don't care. When my kids were growing up, when they were little and we had no money at all, um because my husband was like, I'm not going to accept money from your family. So we had no money at all. And so I used to take our kids to the thrift store, right? And they had these fabulous grab bags for $1. This was like 20 plus years ago. They had these fabulous grab bags for $1. And so they'd have all these like basically new toys in a bag. And you picked out a bag with several new toys in it, practically new toys in it. And it was only $1. And so I used to be able to tell my kids, by taking them to the thrift store, you can pick out whatever you want, because it was only $1. And they just thought we were the richest. I mean, they did. We would go to the thrift store and buy our clothes, right? Everybody could get several outfits. We would go to the thrift store and get these grab bags. And they thought we were the richest people on earth. They didn't know any better, right? So it's like, you don't need money to make your kids happy. And so people think, oh, my kids are, only be happy if I can buy them a Mercedes Benz on their 16th birthday, or they'll only love me if I dress them in name brand clothes, or they'll only love me if, we live in this certain house. And trust me when I say, if you don't present that as the norm, your kids aren't going to know that. Like, eh, kids just want a roof over their head, food to eat, clothes to wear. Now maybe when they get older, they may want, the name brand this or that, but you know what you tell them? Get a job. That's great. I'm glad you want those nice things for yourself. When I want nice things for myself, I go out and I earn them. And so that's what you tell your children. Oh, you want to start wearing, $500 sneakers? Okay, great. I want you to get a job, and I want you to work and see how many hours you have to work in order to accrue $500. And maybe once you find that out, you'll have a different, mindset on wearing $500 sneakers, right? And it maybe won't seem so simple and practical to you at that point, after you had to get a job and work to earn them. So it's really important that we make everyone around us earn what they have. It's just like in a relationship. In a relationship, if you have a normal, healthy relationship, if you don't have a relationship where you're a female dominant, and your husband is a male submissive, okay, if you have a normal relationship, the male should have to work for what he gets. The woman should have to work for what she gets. You should both be constantly working for one another in the relationship. Relationships, for any of you who are in them, or marriages, take work, right? They are work. You don't just skate and expect to stay married for 25, 30 years. It don't work that way. It's work, constant work. So all this to say, work is, I think, the key theme here. Whatever it is that you want in life, you need to be prepared to work for it. You need to be prepared to earn it. And you need to make your kids earn it. Okay? If they want something, they need to earn it. Or else you aren't going to give them practical skills with which they can go out into the real world and be successful. Same thing if you have a business partner or an employee, okay? And that was really my original point. You need to make sure that they are earning what it is that they are getting. They need to learn their way into the company or into the relationship. You need to make sure that they have a healthy respect for who you are if you are their employer, right? And you need to do them the service of making them learn the company, learn the business, right? They need to do trainings. They need to invest in themselves, right? To show that they are serious about the job that needs to be done, that they are interested. They need to have buy in into it, or else they are not going to appreciate or take what it is that they are doing seriously, especially if you're a small business owner and you don't have a huge staff. It's going to be really important that the people that you do have in your circle have buy in, that they have understanding about the job and what it takes to get the job done, and they are knowledgeable. Okay. So they need to go to trainings. You need to have them reading books. And, you know, it's really hard to find people these days that have a work ethic. And I have several theories on that that I'm not going to get into because I'm not trying to upset anybody tonight. But it's really hard to find people who have a good work ethic, who want to learn, who want to invest in themselves. I mean, it's hard to find business owners out here who want to invest in themselves, right? You tell somebody, hey, you need to read these books, you need to spend money on yourself and take these courses, you need to do masterminds, you need to do retreats. You know, people don't want to do, and these are people who are business owners. They don't even want to invest in themselves in that manner. So it's really hard to get like somebody else who's not the business owner to, but there are people out there. So you need to, and this comes into being aware of your circle. Who's in your circle? I'm gonna have to get off in a minute because I didn't bring any water in here with me. Y'all, I had to clean my office tonight just to get in here. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so late going live, because my office was, you couldn't walk into it. So I had to clean it just to be able to sit here and go live with y'all. But I forgot my water out there. But anyway, you need to find people, and this is why I like finding young people. Um because I feel like the older people get, more often the less flexible that they are. And when you tell them, oh, I'm going to need you to read some books, I'm going to need you to attend some workshops, to better understand what it is that we do here, you know, I feel like there's more pushback as people head into their late 20s and early 30s. They're kind of set in their ways. They don't want to work really hard anymore, you know, unless you're able to find somebody. But then the other problem is if you find somebody who's a little on the older side, they may have a problem with adapting to technology, some of them. So it's kind of hard, but you have to be very selective about the people that you let into do business with you, okay? Because they represent your name. And if you all are delegating, right? If you're delegating and you give something, a task to somebody, and you expect it to be done right and they don't do it right, then that's your name on the line, right? That's your name on the line. That's your integrity on the line. And so you just have to be very careful. And that's basically what I wanted to say. Be careful with who you have in your circle. Make sure that you understand that you can't just hand something to somebody. They're not going to appreciate it. They have to work for it. They have to have some sort of buy in so that they understand the value of what it is that you're giving them, right? I can't just meet somebody, interview them, and say, here's my baby, here's my dream, here's my business, you know, here, because it's not theirs if they don't educate themselves on it, if they don't study it, if they don't shadow me, right? If there's not buy in, they're not going to appreciate what's being built here and that they can be a part of it and it can be life changing for them. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And then I just tied it into your kids. Same thing with your kids. Your kids need buy in. Don't just give your kids stuff, don't spoil them. Don't make them think that $500 Nikes grow on trees and you can just go pick a couple, right? Don't make them think that, you know, expensive clothes are nothing. oh, you can get out of high school and you can get a job and afford these, pants that I'm buying you or whatever. Make sure they understand what a dollar is, the value of a dollar, how long it takes to make a dollar, right? That's always a big wake up for young people when they get their first job and they find out that, wow, mom paying, my car note and my insurance and, and for the lights and the water and the mortgage and they start to get an understanding. Like my adult kids are starting to get an understanding of, oh wow, it's expensive to one of them said to me the other day, wow, it's really expensive out here. No, you don't say. You don't say to pay for your clothes, your food, your water, your gas, your car insurance, your car, right? All costs money. And people have to understand and appreciate the value. I don't know how else to say it. They need to understand and appreciate the value of a dollar and what it takes to make a dollar. And that if you are letting them into your circle of success that you worked hard to achieve, that is a true honor, that they are trusting, that you are trusting them with what you have accomplished. But make sure that your trust is not too quick and not well placed. Does that make sense? Because if you let somebody into your organization, they can, just like they can potentially lift you up and be of great assistance to you, they can also pull you down and bring you down, right? Because a lot of times we can be busy and we can delegate, right? And you think that this person has made the phone call or made the arrangements or the appointments or sent out the emails or whatever, and only to find out that they didn't, and now people are looking at you funny because the ball lands with you. If you own something, ultimately you're responsible, not whoever you hired underneath you, if something goes wrong or isn't done properly. So, anyway, that's what I have for tonight. I hope I expressed myself somewhat clearly because, like I said, it's getting late. And when it gets late, as a diabetic, I do. My something shuts down and I don't know, my words start to slur. My blood sugar kind of hikes a little bit, and I'm not wearing my insulin pump right now. So, anyway, I'm going to end it before you can't understand what I'm saying. So, anyway, I hope you were able to get something from that. And thank you for watching. And I should see you all tomorrow evening at the regular time, which would be around 9:30. Okay. So you should see me about 9:30. Ah, I love you too. And congratulations on your marriage, cousin. Um, so I should be on 9:30. Remember, I said at the beginning, I'm going to switch it up. I'm now going to be on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Those will be the three social media channels that I will be doing lives on. For those of you who are really Insta people, I will be doing something completely different on Instagram. Got a whole campaign and everything special just for them going on. And I will be doing my live separately on Insta. So it'll just be Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok from now on at about 9:30 p.m. Central Time for my evening lives. That's what I am aiming for, 9:30. So that's that. I also have a super incredible program that I am kicking off, and that's going to be uh, the race to getting your summer body ready, right? And I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now because I'll be doing a whole nother live around it. But basically, just to let you know, I am preparing for summer and my summer body. I'm really excited about that. So that's going to include several things like exercising, revising the way I eat, and also taking these amazing supplements that I had been taking. And I don't know why I stopped. I don't even remember why I stopped taking them. But that was back when life was chaotic, whatever. I am taking them now again. They are fabulous. They are nutritional supplements. They also curb your appetite, okay, and have vitamins and minerals, essential vitamins and minerals. And so I'm taking these and I'm going to be introducing you all to my product line. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kick off a 30-day program, and there will be a prize at the end for the individual who is able to lose the most weight. Okay, who has the most, and I should even say the most weight, I'm going to say the most noticeable changes. So you're going to take a picture at the beginning and then at the end of the 30 days. But the catch is, these are for people who are using the nutritional supplements, which I'm going to introduce you all to tomorrow. So you want to check out that live tomorrow. That will be on Facebook, probably. We'll see what I go on live, and if I can find my third phone. But anyway, so just wanted to let y'all know about that. And so I'm going to conclude this live. I hope you have a beautiful night, and I will see you tomorrow. Lord willing, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.